In 1980, the peaceful village was suddenly shaken by the mysterious disappearance of 4 nuns who had been well-known and respected members of the community. These nuns were dedicated to their spiritual duties and had lived quietly, helping the villagers and maintaining the local convent. On an ordinary morning, without any warning or sign of distress, the 4 nuns vanished without a trace. The villagers were stunned, as there was no indication that the nuns were planning to leave or that anything dangerous was happening. Their rooms were found untouched, their personal belongings in place, and no evidence suggested they had gone anywhere willingly. The sudden disappearance left everyone confused and fearful, as the nuns had always been a symbol of safety and faith in the village. Rumors began to spread, and people wondered if foul play was involved or if something supernatural had occurred. Despite the villagers' efforts to find them, including organizing search parties and notifying authorities, no clues were uncovered. The mystery of the missing nuns cast a shadow over the village, leaving the community haunted by questions and a deep sense of loss. The entire community was thrown into a state of panic and disbelief after the sudden disappearance of the 4 nuns. Families gathered in small groups, sharing their worries and trying to make sense of what had happened. The local authorities quickly organized search parties, calling on volunteers from nearby towns and villages to help comb through the surrounding forests, fields, and any places the nuns might have gone. The villagers scoured every corner, from the dense woods to the abandoned buildings on the outskirts of town, hoping to find even the smallest clue that could explain the mysterious vanishing. People questioned one another, trying to recall if they had seen anything unusual in the days leading up to the disappearance, but no one had noticed anything suspicious. The search was thorough and relentless. Villagers stayed up late into the night, lighting lanterns and calling out the nuns' names, their voices echoing through the darkness. Despite their tireless efforts, no footprints, signs of struggle, or personal items were found. The local police investigated every possible lead, interviewing people who had recently interacted with the nuns or had reasons to be near the convent. But all inquiries ended in frustration, as every trail led to dead ends. Newspapers from nearby towns covered the story, drawing more attention to the case, but still, the nuns remained missing. As days turned into weeks, hope began to fade, replaced by fear and confusion. The villagers struggled to understand why the nuns would leave without a word or how they could simply vanish without a trace. The absence of any answers left the community feeling vulnerable and uneasy, and the disappearance became a dark cloud hanging over their lives. As the weeks turned into months, and then years, the mystery of the 4 missing nuns slowly faded from the headlines but never left the hearts of the villagers. The once bustling search efforts gave way to quiet prayers and somber remembrance. The village itself began to change, its people carrying the heavy weight of unanswered questions and unresolved fears. Parents warned their children to be cautious, and an air of suspicion lingered over the town, as neighbors sometimes glanced at each other with uncertainty, wondering if someone knew more than they let on. The local church held memorial services every year to honor the missing nuns, hoping for a miracle or a sign that they might one day return. Despite the passage of time, the pain of their absence was felt deeply, as if a piece of the village's soul had been torn away. The nuns' rooms in the convent remained untouched, frozen in time, serving as a haunting reminder of their sudden departure. The convent itself became quieter, less vibrant, as the community grappled with the loss of the spiritual guidance and warmth the nuns had provided. Over the years, speculation and rumors grew like wildfire, with some villagers whispering about strange lights seen near the convent at night or unexplained noises in the woods. Others believed the nuns had been taken by some dark force or had fled due to a hidden threat within the village. Yet, despite all the theories, no concrete evidence ever emerged to solve the case. The disappearance became part of the village's folklore, a story told to outsiders with a mixture of sadness and fear. It was a wound that never healed, a mystery that remained locked away in the memories of those who had lived through it. The nuns' absence shaped the village's identity, a silent testament to a time when everything changed in an instant, and hope seemed to vanish along with them. Even as new generations were born and the village moved forward, the shadow of the vanished nuns lingered, a ghostly presence woven into the fabric of everyday life. After nearly 3 decades of silence and unanswered questions, the village welcomed a new priest who was determined to bring hope and healing to the troubled community. This priest, newly assigned to the parish, was deeply moved by the story of the 4 missing nuns that had haunted the village for so many years. Unlike others before him, he refused to let the mystery remain unsolved or the pain remain unacknowledged. From the moment he arrived, he made it his mission to learn everything he could about the disappearance. He spoke with the older villagers, listening carefully to their memories and fears, piecing together fragments of stories that had been passed down over the years. He visited the convent, spending hours examining the old rooms and dusty archives, searching for any clue that might have been overlooked. His dedication inspired others in the village to reopen the wounds they had tried to forget, and together they began to look at the past with renewed urgency and hope. The priest's faith and persistence were fueled by a deep conviction that the truth could bring peace not only to the families of the nuns but to the entire village. He sought out old documents, letters, and records, determined to uncover any hidden information that might explain what had happened. Over time, the priest became convinced that there was more to the story than anyone had imagined and that some secrets were deliberately kept hidden. He also reached out to former officials and investigators who had worked on the case decades ago, hoping that fresh eyes and new technology might shed light on forgotten evidence. This renewed investigation stirred a mixture of emotions within the community: hope, fear, and curiosity all mingled together. Some villagers were hesitant, afraid to disturb the fragile peace that had settled over the years, while others welcomed the chance to finally find answers. The priest's commitment to uncovering the truth brought the village together, sparking conversations and reopening old wounds, but also offering a path toward healing. With each new discovery, the priest felt closer to revealing the mystery that had shadowed the village for so long. He understood that the road ahead would be difficult and that the truths he might uncover could be painful, but he was prepared to face whatever came, driven by his belief that justice and closure were worth any challenge. As the investigation deepened, the priest's resolve grew stronger, knowing that the fate of the 4 nuns, and the soul of the village itself, hung in the balance. As the priest delved deeper into his investigation, his curiosity and determination led him to explore every corner of the old convent and church grounds, hoping to uncover any hidden secrets that might explain the disappearance of the 4 nuns. One rainy afternoon, while examining the neglected and dusty basement of the abandoned church, he noticed something unusual: a faint outline on the stone wall that seemed out of place. With careful hands, he cleared away decades of dirt, cobwebs, and debris, revealing what appeared to be the edges of a concealed door. Intrigued and cautious, he pried it open to find a narrow, dark passage leading down further into the depths beneath the church. His heart pounded with a mix of fear and anticipation as he stepped inside, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. The air was thick and stale, carrying the weight of forgotten years. As he moved slowly through the passage, he discovered a small, hidden room that had been sealed off for decades. Inside, he found evidence that sent shockwaves through his mind and soul: personal belongings of the missing nuns, including prayer books, rosaries, and pieces of clothing, carefully placed as if someone had tried to preserve their memory. The room was eerily intact, untouched by time or intruders, suggesting it had been deliberately concealed and maintained. This discovery shattered the previous assumptions that the nuns had simply vanished without a trace. Instead, it suggested a dark and hidden reality, that they had been confined in this secret space, trapped and forgotten. The priest's hands trembled as he realized the enormity of what he had found, and he knew that this revelation would change everything for the village. He quickly documented the room and its contents, aware that this was just the beginning of uncovering a much deeper and more disturbing truth. The hidden chamber raised questions that demanded answers: who had locked the nuns away, why, and what had happened to them in those long years of silence. This shocking discovery reignited hope among the villagers, who had long mourned and searched in vain. It also brought new urgency to the investigation, as the priest prepared to reveal the truth and seek justice for the nuns whose lives had been stolen away. The secret room beneath the church became a haunting symbol of betrayal and loss, but also of the resilience and courage to confront a painful past and bring light to the darkest corners of the village's history. The shocking discovery of the hidden room beneath the church quickly unraveled the carefully constructed silence that had surrounded the disappearance of the 4 nuns. As news of the priest's find spread throughout the village, the atmosphere shifted from one of quiet mourning to urgent demands for answers. The presence of the nuns' belongings in the concealed chamber revealed that they had not vanished by chance or fate but had been deliberately held captive, trapped in secrecy for all those years. This revelation exposed a dark and unsettling conspiracy that had been hidden beneath the village's surface, one that involved betrayal and possibly the complicity of those who were once trusted to protect and guide the community. The villagers, who had lived with the mystery for so long, found themselves grappling with feelings of shock, anger, and disbelief. The priest, with the help of local authorities and investigators, began piecing together the details of what had happened, uncovering disturbing truths about the forces that had silenced the nuns and kept their imprisonment a secret. It became clear that the nuns' disappearance was not an isolated event but part of a broader web of corruption and fear, involving influential individuals who had manipulated the village for their own gain. The investigation revealed that the nuns had likely been imprisoned because they had uncovered something threatening to these powerful figures, something that challenged their control or exposed wrongdoing. The villagers who had once lived in ignorance now faced the painful reality that their community had harbored dark secrets and that those they trusted had betrayed them in the worst possible way. The priest's discovery sparked a movement within the village, as residents demanded justice and accountability for the years of suffering the nuns had endured. Memorials were organized to honor the missing sisters, and efforts were made to support their surviving families, who had waited decades for the truth. At the same time, the unfolding scandal attracted attention from the wider region, drawing journalists and legal authorities who sought to bring those responsible to justice. The shocking truth not only brought closure to a painful chapter but also forced the village to confront its past, rebuild trust, and heal from the wounds inflicted by betrayal. The story of the four nuns became a powerful reminder of the dangers of silence and secrecy, and of the strength that comes from uncovering the truth, no matter how difficult it may be. Through this revelation, the village found a renewed sense of hope and determination to ensure that such injustice would never happen again, honoring the memory of the nuns by striving for a future built on transparency, justice, and compassion. The shocking truth that the four nuns had been held captive in a hidden room beneath the church sent ripples of disbelief and horror throughout the village and beyond. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that the nuns' disappearance was part of a dark conspiracy involving individuals who sought to suppress truths that threatened their power and influence. The villagers struggled to comprehend how such a betrayal could have happened in their close-knit community, where trust and faith had once been the foundation of daily life. The revelations uncovered layers of deception, revealing that the nuns had stumbled upon secrets too dangerous to be exposed, secrets that implicated powerful figures within the village and even beyond its borders. These individuals had gone to great lengths to silence the nuns, imprisoning them in secrecy to prevent the truth from coming to light. The conspiracy was far-reaching, involving threats, intimidation, and manipulation, and it became apparent that the villagers themselves had been unknowingly caught in a web of lies and fear. As more details emerged, the extent of the cover-up shocked everyone. The authorities discovered documents, testimonies, and evidence that pointed to a deliberate effort to erase any trace of the nuns' existence during those years. Some villagers who had once been close to the nuns revealed how they had been warned to stay silent or face consequences, creating an atmosphere of fear and complicity. The weight of these revelations fractured the community, with some people struggling to accept the betrayal while others demanded justice with renewed vigor. The priest played a crucial role in guiding the village through this turbulent time, offering spiritual support and encouraging transparency and courage. Public meetings were held, and investigative committees formed to bring those responsible to account. The case attracted media attention, putting pressure on the legal system to act swiftly and fairly. The shocking discovery prompted a broader conversation about power, corruption, and the importance of vigilance in safeguarding truth and justice. It also highlighted the resilience of the human spirit and the power of faith to overcome even the darkest of trials. Families of the missing nuns were finally able to begin the grieving process with some measure of peace, knowing the truth had been uncovered. The village, though deeply scarred, began the slow process of healing, united by a shared commitment to remember the past honestly and to build a safer, more just future. The story of the four nuns became a poignant lesson in courage and the necessity of confronting uncomfortable truths, ensuring that their sacrifice was not forgotten and that such darkness would never again take root in their community. Through this painful but vital reckoning, the village emerged stronger, more aware, and determined to honor the memory of the nuns by standing against injustice in all its forms. The village, long haunted by the disappearance of the four nuns, finally began to find a sense of closure after the shocking discoveries and revelations brought the truth into the light. For nearly 3 decades, the community had lived with a lingering pain and uncertainty that touched every family, every home, and every corner of the town. The hidden captivity of the nuns, once a dark secret, became the catalyst for healing and transformation within the village. The priest, whose determination had sparked the renewed investigation, worked tirelessly alongside the villagers to ensure that justice was pursued and that the memory of the nuns was honored with dignity and respect. Memorials were held, where villagers gathered to pray and remember the lives of the missing sisters, reflecting on their kindness, faith, and the profound loss they had endured. These ceremonies provided a space for shared grief and collective healing, helping the community to begin moving forward while never forgetting the past. Legal proceedings were initiated against those responsible for the conspiracy and the years of silence, sending a powerful message that wrongdoing would not be tolerated and that even the most deeply buried secrets could be uncovered. The pursuit of justice helped to restore faith in the rule of law and in the moral fabric of the village, reinforcing the values of honesty, accountability, and compassion. Families of the nuns, who had suffered in silence for so many years, found comfort in knowing that their loved ones' stories had finally been heard and that their pain had not been in vain. The village itself began to heal, with renewed efforts to rebuild trust among neighbors and to create a safer, more transparent community. Churches and schools incorporated lessons from the tragedy, emphasizing the importance of vigilance against injustice and the courage to speak out. The story of the 4 nuns became a poignant chapter in the village's history, a solemn reminder of the cost of silence and the strength found in truth. Over time, the village transformed from a place marked by mystery and sorrow into one defined by resilience, hope, and unity. The legacy of the nuns lived on not only in memorials and stories but in the everyday lives of those who chose to honor their memory by fostering kindness and justice. The journey from despair to healing was neither quick nor easy, but it was a testament to the power of community, faith, and the unyielding human spirit. In remembering the vanished nuns, the village embraced a future where truth was valued above secrecy, and where the shadows of the past served as a guide toward a more compassionate and just world. Through this painful but necessary process, the village emerged stronger, bound together by the shared commitment to never forget and to always stand up for what is right.